Very good morning to all of you. The topic of discussion today is design thinking in teaching and learning. Before going into the detail of the topic, let me take you through a particular story, and that is actually has happened. The story is regarding the Blair death of childbed. What happened during 1840s? Hospitals in Europe were facing a deadly crisis known as childbed fever. What normally was happening at that point of time that within a few hours of childbirth, many mothers were developing severe infections and ultimately died. In some of the hospitals, the rate reached to such an alarming level far higher than the home birth. And it has happened almost 30 to 40 years and not across, not in towards one particular hospital, it was across the entire Europe. At that point of time, Dr. Holmes, who was the father of Supreme Court, he said to the doctors that you are the problem. The disease is not because of airborne or maybe waterborne or maybe some infections. It is just because of you. But doctor never listened to him, as they said that we are the doctors. How can a particular person from another field can convey this message to us? We don't buy this particular message. So ultimately, the incidents kept on happening. At that point of time, one doctor by the Dr. Ignaz, he realized the pain, he realized the problem, and then what he did is he observed that women admitted in one maternity ward died at a much higher rate than another maternity ward. He did some analysis, he did some studies, and ultimately he came to the conclusions that the doctors who are doing morning autopsy were going into the labor room without even washing the hands, without even sterilizing the equipments. And that was coming out of the main reasons why it was happening. So the message is very clear. Sometimes you are a problem. The moment doctors start washing their hands, start sterilizing their equipments, the disease almost gone. So the message is you are a problem. You need to take the accountability of your actions first. If you are taking the credit, take the accountability. In many of the scenarios, in today's scenario in the corporate world, everyone is ready to take the credit. But how much they are accountable, that is a basic problem. Sometimes the bigger barrier to improvement is not problem within us. It is our unwillingness to recognize the problem with us. This is the story which has happened in almost 60 to 70 years. It kept on happening until the problem was analyzed by Dr. Ignaz and he gave some result. So if I summed up the Ignaz action, he deeply cared about mothers dying after childbirth and tried to understand their suffering. That is a problem he recognized. He did some study that why women are dying in one maternity ward higher than another ward. He compared the two hospital wards, studied doctors and midwives' practices. He generated many hypotheses like maybe it is because of crowding, ventilation, birthing position, etc. And ultimately he introduced a very simple intervention, that is hand washing with chlorinated lime solutions. And ultimately the rate dramatically dropped after implementations. He refined the procedure based on result and continued collecting evidence. This is what exactly the actions taken by Mr. Ignaz. I am going to correlate this particular incident, this particular story, or you can say the particular happening with design thinking principle later on. Moving forward, look at this particular picture. Can any one of you let me know what exactly is the problem over here? What exactly the picture is trying to showcase over here? The truck was stuck under the bridge. There was so much nuisance. People were horning, but there was no result. Traffic police was standing nearby, but they were not able to find any result until one child came to the traffic policeman and said, "Sir, can I suggest you something?" And he suggested, if at all we can take some of the air from the tire, this problem is gone. They did the same thing. It is way back in 1967. They did the same thing and ultimately the problem is over. So what you can understand from this particular problem, the solution although look very simple, but who has given the solution that carries a lot of weightage. Moving forward, 15 July is celebrated as World Youth Skill Day across the world. India also way back in 2014, they came out with National Innovation Foundation, which is being organized by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Ignite Award to promote the youth excellence. I have taken some of the picture from that particular year itself. Can you identify the problem over here? And in fact, it is a very big problem, especially in India. And can any one of you suggest some solutions based on this particular problem? Let me share one of the solution which is being suggested by in that particular competition by one of the school students itself. What he said, why can't we have step lock system in the bus? He is a Mr. Santosh from class 11. What he said, if at all any person is standing on the staircase, the bus is not going to start, the bus cannot move, or maybe you can say the bus starting system is locked. This is the solution being given by Mr. Santosh of class 11th. Look at this particular picture, and I think each one of us know this picture, and in fact many of us are responsible for this particular picture also. We normally sit on the chair, maybe the seats in the park, we eat something and just leave it like this. A class 8 students, Mr. Chadda, he came out with a solution. Why can't we have a movable seat? If at all we have the movable seat, there is no problem like this. Although the solution look very simple, but let me tell you very clearly, innovation doesn't mean always we come out with a rocket science product or service. It can be a simple design problem. Now look at this particular picture. Can you just let us know what exactly is the problem over here, or what exactly this picture is trying to convey? Through this picture you can observe that in a schools or maybe in the park, these are the taps and it is for the water, but the little school girl or little girl is unable to reach to the tap, and ultimately the problem is exist. Class 7 students came out with this particular proposition, and in fact this is being adopted by many of the schools. Chaya idea was this. You can just imagine a girl from the class 7 came out with this particular idea, and which is being adopted by many of the schools. Again, one problem which I have taken from that particular competitions. Most of the time while we are sitting in a bus, we even don't know that our hands or maybe our head is outside the window. That can always give some problem. What he suggested, maybe the class 9 students, why can't we have alerting system for the bus driver? If at all any part of our body is outside the window, the bus driver will get an alerting system. So ultimately, the driver can take this particular incidents and give out certain solutions. This is again a climate barrier in the making. This is something around 2020. Class 8 student from Tamil Nadu. She won the Swedish prize for solar powered ironing system. Means we don't need to have the electricity. It is just through the solar power we are doing it. Again, this is a problem we all are facing. Like 20% of the trains are always late. And we are unable to find out where the train is right now. 5 students or maybe the 5 friends came out with a particular app way back in 2016. Where is my train? This is the app designed by 5 friends. They have in all the 10 people in their company at that point of time. And they uses the cell tower informations to tell user where particular train are. The app can function without an internet connections, or you can say the GPS as well as, and even allow user to set alarms to alert users if their train is nearing their destinations. Again, apart from using train locations, this app added certain other features like maybe PNR checking stations status, providing train schedules and displaying coach and platform numbers. The idea was so much successful that Google acquired this particular idea with an estimated cost of 280 crores. This is what we do most often. We have the resources, we try to find out the problems, or maybe we have the resources, we try to find out the uses. Like if at all I have the brick in my hand, what I will do, I will start looking for the use of that particular brick, maybe in making a wall, maybe making a building, or maybe in making a pathway, or maybe in making a road. But now the time has to change. You need to define the problem first. If at all you define the problem first, we can always use the resources, maybe the brick. That can be one of the solutions for that particular problem. Only one of the solutions. Brick can be used. Like if at all my problem is that I want to do the regular exercise and I'm not able to go to the gym, can I use the brick for that particular purpose? This is what is called design